And we're also getting reports of disturbances taking place in other parts of the UK, Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, with many arrests being reported. But in particular, it is London that is still very much the focus of the disturbances, with many areas from north to south, east to west being affected by looting, cars being set alight, shops being broken into and damaging there. The pictures you can see is of Clapham in the south of London, which has been the scene of violence, particularly within the last 4 hours. We can speak to the freelance journalist Mark Pangallo, who is in Clapham for us. And Mark, just tell us what's happening where you are.
Yes, I'm in Clapham now, and an eerie calm has descended over the area. Some form of order has been restored, but the damage has already been done.
It's interesting you say that calm has been restored there, because we were seeing just within the last 15 or 20 minutes or so pictures of the London Fire Brigade still tackling a major fire in Clapham Junction. Do you know if that's still, if you can corroborate that story for us?
Yes, I'm on Wandsworth Road at the minute, not in view of the fire, but I was there when it did break out, and I tell you, it was a really dangerous situation because there were residents above the shop that was set on fire, and I myself, because there was no fire brigade and no police presence, I myself was knocking on the doors and notifying residents that they had to leave their building.
And Mark, how long have you been in Clapham this evening, or in the early hours of the morning?
I arrived at the Clapham High Street at about 10 o'clock this evening. I was there for around about 45 to 50 minutes before I saw any sign of police presence, and it was utter chaos when I arrived, and I couldn't believe the devastation, millions of pounds worth of damage. The figures, there were thousands of onlookers, but more so hundreds of looters. I saw some people wheeling suitcases full of clothes, bags, even jewellery down the street as they left the Clapham High Street area.
So, Mark, you've said significantly within the last half an hour or so, things seem to have quietened down. Just police and the fire service on the streets there, do you think?
Yes, just fire service and a few local metropolitan police, a few scattered youths roaming the area, but mainly terrified residents who I've come across actually on my way home. I've heard stories of people trying to protect their own business with their bare hands, and I'm actually with a gentleman now who fought off what he says 15 attackers by himself as they attempted to loot an electronics store on Wandsworth Road.
Mark, for people that are not familiar with the area of Clapham, just describe to us what kind of a place it is.
Well, it's beautiful, especially in the summertime. Lots of families out enjoying the sun at the common. You have some elderly residents around here as well. It's quite multicultural, and usually during the week it's peaceful. There's a great vibe about the area, and for this kind of violence and devastation, it really leaves a black mark on the area.
Mark, are you getting a sense that from what you saw over the last few hours in Clapham, that it was organised, the people that were gathering in groups there?
I think to a certain extent it was, and most certainly the youths knew each other, and they were corroborating, so to speak. And I definitely did get that feeling. However, once the looting started, it was almost every man for himself, and they were just attacking basically any business in sight. They were attacking even real estate agents. They attempted to attack some bars along Clapham. They were unsuccessful as the owners were out the front warding them off.
OK, Mark, for now, thank you so much for joining us. Mark Pangallo there, talking to us live from Clapham. This is the scene in West London. It is Ealing, where firefighters are clearly tackling a blaze there. We were reporting that West Ealing in particular has been the scene of some very active looting. Apparently the Panasonic store in West Ealing was targeted, as well as shops in the area as well. But just on the corner there, it's quite hard to make out whereabouts that is in Ealing. It could well be just off the main high street there on the corner. I believe the railway station is just behind there, but that is the scene there as firefighters are tackling the blaze, and it is almost an identikit situation of things that have been portrayed in other parts of London, like we've just shown, the situation in Clapham, the situation in Hackney, Enfield, Tottenham, Walthamstow, all being affected by cars being burnt out and shops being looted. A number of roads, I should point out, have been closed in these areas that have been affected. And I should point out that in terms of transport, it is just approaching 2 a.m. here in London, so the London Underground is closed, but for some overground networks on the railway lines, they have also been shut at some stations as well. But this, the scene live in West London, in Ealing, where looting has been taking place in the west of Ealing, and clearly firefighters are tackling this situation not only in Ealing but other parts of the capital as well. Just to give you an idea of numbers, we understand that some 1,700 police officers are in the capital. They've been joined by 11 other police forces alongside the Metropolitan Police Force, working with them to tackle the disturbances. Clearly, it is a very fast-moving situation where anybody's bet is where the next situation or where the next area will be or will be targeted. Much, of course, is being said about who is behind this. Are these coordinated? Fingers being pointed at social networking sites like BlackBerry BBM messaging and also on Twitter as well. If that is the case, we've yet to find out how much is being coordinated on the social networking sites. But it does, according to the politicians, earlier we heard from Theresa May, who said that she saw this as criminal opportunism. It's an activity that she believes that people are taking advantage of the situation to steal things that are being looted from the shops there. But I should just point out that within the last few hours, it's become apparent that it's not just the capital that is being affected by this kind of violent disorder. Liverpool has also been affected, with some 300 people on the streets there in the city centre. Also Birmingham, where West Midlands Police have said that 100 arrests have taken place in the city centre and some surrounding areas. Handsworth is worth mentioning to you because we understand that a railway station and in fact unconfirmed reports that a police station in the area has been targeted as well. Some minor scuffles reported in Manchester. We're not sure how significant that is, but definitely Liverpool and Birmingham very much being reported as part of the scenes that have been unfolding as well. Twitter very active with this, lots of messages coming into us from a number of people, many very distressed at the scenes that they're seeing unfolding as well. Well, let's just give you an idea of some of the people that have been affected by the violence. Alan McCabe is the manager of the Old Fox and Hounds pub in West Croydon. Earlier he told my colleague Peter Dobby what he had experienced.
I'm just off, I'm off the side street by the Marks and Spencers, just by West Croydon, the say the Santander. I've never seen anything like it. I have to admit, it kicked off very quickly, very sharpishly, and we tried moving people out of the pub as quickly as possible, to the point that we had to block up the front doors and move them out the back. And then we did was we went back into the pub, ripped up all the spirits off the optics, all the spirits behind the bar, just so if anyone did break in, they couldn't make Molotovs. So everything got locked down in the cellar, and unfortunately I had a 90-year-old woman in the pub. I know her, she comes in for a cup of tea, nice quiet woman, but a bit senile, no harm to her, but couldn't get her out in time, and we were hoping that she'd stay safe in the pub, but she got a little wound up. So I carried her across the road to get her over to the police, who were very accommodating just to get her out of it, but just as I got her there, the riot group, I don't know how many, look, 200 strong, pushed forward, and the police were doing their best, and the riot gear were doing their best to push them all back, and I've gotten boxed in. I'm basically kind of trapped at the moment of this side street because I can't get back to work. I've got 6 guys that I work with. The owner himself is